Hey, it's Elijah Winfield.
And I'm Zach Mason.
And this is the More Than My Story podcast. We like to give people the opportunity to share their testimony and to describe themselves as being more than their story and where they've come from and how they have evolved over time. So if you want to take the time to introduce yourself.
My name is Angelo Froe, everybody.
This is Angelo. So, tell us about you. Tell us where you come from, how how life started for you.
Well, my name is Angelo Froe again, 44 years old. I come from Columbus, Ohio, live in Chillicothe, Ohio, so I'm kind of local. Been here for a while, and I'll tell you what, I got a good story for you guys, you know what I mean? I like to share some of my experiences in the local area because it can resonate with some people. I can't, teach everybody, but I can show people what I've been through and where I can go to. You know what I mean? My story starts out at a young age. So the thing is, a lot of people should be able to relate with me when I say this. I come from a broken home. Family, most of them were addicts, okay? Now, most of them will deny it, but the good part about that is they can recognize that they are addicts from somebody else's view in the family. Right. You know what I mean? Somebody who can relate to them. So they all use alcohol, drugs, just different scapegoats in life, and not really took a lot of responsibility. But today they walk in a better path. You know what I mean? I walk in a better path, being where I come from. So at a young age, I was in a foster home, 5-6 years old, all the way back in the cut, man. I'm talking like all the way off the main road. And, so far I had chickens in my yard, So what I did notice is that there were other foster kids there, but it seemed like me personally at 5 or 6 years old, I got treated differently. You know, I am African-American, you know what I mean? And some people might not say that plays a factor. I feel like it does sometimes,
Yeah,
it just depends on the scope or the morals of the foster parent. You know what I mean? How they view everything. So I got treated differently than everybody else, all the other little kids. They got to go out and play in the yard. I didn't. I didn't feel good enough. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I didn't feel good enough that I was in a foster home, not knowing where my mother was because she was 13 years old when I was born.
Oh, wow.
My dad was 14. He took off. So I was lost. You know what I mean? I was truly lost. So the thing is, I got called different names, just horrible names. You know what I mean? You could tell there was a demonic presence, in the space I was in. So, coming up, I'm used to handling adversity, being the only African American in predominantly Caucasian situations. You know what I mean? Schools.
And this was in Columbus, right?
No, this was.
This was out off the main road.
This was off the beaten path.
So what area was that?
This was Lucasville.
Oh, okay.
Lucasville, Ohio. I was born in Portsmouth. Okay. So from Portsmouth, Ohio, at an early age, me and my sister went to foster homes in Lucasville, and that's prior to going to Columbus. Sorry for the difficulty.
No. Yeah, but I'm just trying to understand because I understand. The area is definitely, it presents you getting treated different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because whatever area that you're in, there could be, predominantly white people that view blacks as different.
Yeah,
it's
for
just, sure. Having that understanding of like the location and where you were at, it kind of, that explains for me, a little bit more of like why you were treated different.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't understand culture, but, I didn't understand at that time. My foster parents didn't understand at that time. So we're all just in confusion with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Communication was minimal. So I always felt bad every day. You know what I mean? Tormented, being the only, let's say, black kid in the area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't know I was different at the time than everybody. I just looked down and noticed my skin was different.
Yeah.
I know where I came from because I remember my mother.
But you was like 5'6". You didn't you know what I mean? Like this is all like this is what you know. You didn't even
You can
you
only
had no
comprehend so
understanding.
much at 5 or 6 anyway.
You didn't have an
know what I mean?
understanding of the difference.
Right. And just keep in mind, at that age, you're a sponge. You're soaking all that stuff in.
Yeah.
100%.
So I didn't really understand where my mother was. You know, all I know is I felt neglected. You know what I mean? I couldn't go home to mom. So I didn't feel comfortable enough and didn't trust this family enough that I can make them my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I dealt with that probably a year and a half, 2 years. I remember having visitations with my mother, but they were very brief. You know what I mean? Not enough time to bond. I know that after being unbonded, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, 7 years old, I remember, all I know is something happened that I went back to my mom, and my sister didn't go back to my mom. She was adopted out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that right there is still confusing because there's this new man with my mom that I had no clue who he was. So can I trust you, Mom? You know, this is how I felt. I don't know if I can trust you at this point because you left me before.
Yeah.
You know, but I wasn't processing that properly. I'm just soaking it in. Keep it in mind. So all I remember is my mom, and he's my stepfather, but nowadays I look at him as my father because he's very real to me.
Yeah.
You know, he's the influence in my life that's helped shape who I am today. So the thing is, I remember them fighting. I'm talking violently fighting in the ghetto in Columbus, Greenbrier Projects.
Yeah.
This is when we
What age
moved to
was you at
Columbus.
this point when you
I was
moved
7
back?
years old at this
7?
time. 7 years old, so I'm still very young. I'm still in like first grade at the time in Columbus.
Right.
Whole new school.
But that's a completely different culture shift right there.
Whole different
Lucasville to
culture.
Columbus.
Absolutely. So now these kids are bigger than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're still in elementary school. I look around, tons of culture in these projects. You know what I mean? Something I would value today.
Right.
But back then, I still couldn't process it properly. You know, so all I remember is a lot of fighting, a lot of moving around at a young age, a lot of violence in my life, a lot of drug and alcohol use around me. You know what I mean? Not a lot of coping skills taught. None at all. So with that, you know, we're going up the timeline. So I'm 7, 9 years old, different school. I'm going to say around 11 years old, different school. Let's go all the way up until I'm 14 years old.
Okay.
By this point, I'm so driven into I'm going to guess the ghetto culture
Yeah.
that my friends are drug dealers.
Yep.
You know?
100%.
One of my first role models was a drug dealer. He was my bigger cousin. Okay? I didn't know what he did. I'm young at this point.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he did. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You know, he had all the, everything a young boy looks for.
Right.
Girls, money, just it seemed like happiness, because
fast
I never
lifestyle.
seen the negative in it. You know what I mean? They don't display that part.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean? They don't display jail time behind this.
Yeah.
They just show money, pulling it out, fanning it, which is a lot of what's going on with the youth today. I do
Yes.
believe, media sways a you that. I was easily influenced.
Well, yeah, you look at social media and like Instagram, you see everybody's what they say. You see everybody's highlight reel. You don't ever see like the bad things that go on,
Absolutely.
or the struggles and the daily like torment that they may be going through. But they're posting, that their life is perfect and amazing, and they're, it's bright and sunny in every picture, and
Right.
you're on a beach in every photo, but it's like
Right.
you ain't been on vacation in 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like they're.
It's a false reality. That's
Yeah.
everybody has that 5 seconds of, fame and trying to glorify all this, but then nothing behind the scenes is shown.
Nothing at all. They definitely don't show the broken aspect of the home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how the family's divided and how there's just like turmoil. You know what I mean? Everybody today is affected by death.
Yeah.
Out there. It's plagued by death. It's plagued by demonic presence. So 14 years old, I thought it was normal to bring a drug dealer home.
Yeah.
He's fanning out money. My mom looks at me and says, "Son, who is this?" Well, I'm like, "Mom, well, here's the thing. This is Reggie. He's my friend." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she said, no, we're not doing that. You know, there's shootouts in my front yard, everything in Columbus at this point, you know. I'm in poverty-stricken areas. This is what I was used to, you know. That's another part of what influenced me to be who I am today, you know. So I'm still in confusion at this age. And, you know, I directly empathize with a lot of the youth today who's going through the things that I went through, you know. So my mom took me at that point. Her and my stepdad collectively had a conversation, moved me to Waverly, Ohio. I was like, whoa. Something triggered in my head and said, I'm back.
Yep.
I'm back to the Lucasville setting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a major trigger. So it took me a while to adjust. I'm 14 years old, fresh freshman in high school at Waverly. Just left my junior high in Columbus.
Yep.
You know, a whole different setting. Mom, I'm on my 20th school at this point. Literally 20th different school. Lived on every side of Columbus twice. So I'm like, man, you know, I don't know if anybody can, if you know what it's like, Zach or Elijah, to be the new guy every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Multiple times in life. So it takes an adjustment. I had severe social anxiety at this point. You know, now I'm in a new setting. Wow. It's a major, I feel like it was a setback for me. You know what I mean? This was not an accomplishment in my eyes, but nobody took time to care to even ask how I felt about it. They just took me out of the setting. So they're still alcoholics at this point, you know? Still a bunch of turmoil, fighting going on. I've got younger brothers at this point that I have to look after, you know what I mean, and babysit while trying to juggle basketball. Okay, and that takes a lot out of you. Transitioning into driving, transitioning into working at a young age. You know, 15, I started work, full-time jobs. You know what I mean? Not focusing on being a student. So I literally was not working to my potential. You know, I didn't have time. Didn't have time to work to my potential. My grades started slipping, and all I remember is, man, you know, you're punished, you're grounded, you're not getting this, that, and the other, because I'm sorry to say what I see is a lot of families nowadays don't focus on positive enough. Society out here focuses on the negative. You know what I mean? So I like to focus on positivity too. I try to stay positive in most situations today, but at this point, I couldn't. I just didn't know how. You know what I mean? So I started listening to, you know, aggressive rap music. I started listening to, you know, my peers when they were out there smoking, drinking. That's the only thing there was to do in these small towns. That you was cool being an athlete if you're going to parties. You know what I mean? If 100%. You're drinking with the rest of them, I don't want to be at a party and not being the guy drunk. You know, that had to be a disaster. So, you know, I moved to Chillicothe the day I graduated high school after struggling for 4 years at Waverly High School. You know what I mean? But I finally found a best friend and started trusting people because I stayed there for an amount of time that allowed me to trust. You know, I was there 4 years at Waverly. So
you graduated too, right?
I graduated Waverly High School despite hearing I'm not working to my potential, seeing all the riffraff around me, you know what I mean? But still not having God in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I felt like I was doing okay. But was I a positive influence to my younger brothers? No. You know what I mean? Not at this point. So I struggle with that also, you know.
How many brothers do you have?
I've got, at this point, unfortunately.
Like that you were looking, at the time that you were looking after.
Okay, 3. 3 brothers, no sister. She's still out of the picture. And thank God she's in my life today. You know, she's a counselor up at Cardinal. Cardinal, it's a treatment facility, but in Chillicothe. But here's the thing. I don't feel like counseling can be fully taught. You know what I mean? Being a people person can't be fully taught.
No.
You have to want it. You know what I mean? It's a God gift.
It is.
I didn't always talk well, you know. things are a little bit different, but we'll get to that later. But here's my thing. Struggling throughout whole life. I seen my mom shot point blank in front of me at 9 years old. Blood everywhere. After I lost her and came back, blood everywhere. You know what I mean? By my stepdad that I really trusted and loved. After an argument. They're still together sort of today, but it was a rough period to get through because she was pregnant with one of my younger brothers who has now passed away due to addiction. But, you know, I try to look at positive and everything.
Yeah.
He didn't die in vain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He died to send a message that, you know, people don't focus enough on mental health, I think. For me, mental health is huge, guys. But, you know, I feel like personally that's where everything starts. You know what I mean? That's where addiction starts. That's where the disorder starts, and it starts early, soaking it in as a sponge. You know what I mean? 5, 6 years old, 7 years old. And keep in mind, a lot of these kids today don't have parents.
Yeah.
They have grandparents. You know what I mean? Because their parents aren't present. So I overcame a lot, guys. The gangs, the getting in trouble. I thought it was cool in Columbus. You know what I mean? My first case, I was 10 years old. Luckily, I didn't get in trouble. I'm in elementary school, 2nd grade in Columbus prior to moving back to Waverly. I thought I was flirting with the girl, didn't know how to flirt. You know what I mean? I pick up a piece of mulch, throw it backwards, puts her eye out for life.
Wow.
These are parts of life that nobody is paying attention to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're getting in trouble, but you're not teaching.
Yeah,
you
but
know
it's
what I
getting
mean?
It's getting overlooked.
Right. It's
If
don't
the
do
lesson's
this.
not there, like,
Absolutely.
you're just missing the lesson. It's like
Right.
you're not supposed to do that, but there's no why or
Yeah. No solution to
Yeah.
it. So I'm sitting there like, man, you know, so confused, like, wow, what am I doing so wrong? You know what I mean? All I'm hearing is no, 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 no.
Yeah.
It took a toll on me. It drove me majorly depressed at a young age. So the day I graduated high school, I had to set boundaries on my parents. And this is crazy because I felt like I was smart enough to set boundaries, but were they good boundaries?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you were working with what you had at the time. You're not as smart as you are as sitting right
Hindsight
here now.
is
Right,
20/20,
right.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I'm sitting there like, man, is this the best move? My friend called me from Chillicothe, one of my best friends. Hey, I got a place, man. Let's be roommates. Roommates? Bills? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Parties, that's what I paid attention to.
Yeah.
The parties. Wow, okay. How's these parties going to look? So I spiraled out of control. 18 years old, first case in Chillicothe. Just a bunch of havoc, you know, that I brought in myself, drinking, thinking I was tough, just things that were just very unhealthy today, but at that time was time relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the setting I came from. A lot of people, including myself, we sit there and we value negativity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thinking that it's cool, you know, because I listen to rap music. I can sit and blame it on rap music, but no, it was a willingness thing, and it was a I haven't been taught thing, you know. So we're moving in. I'm 18 years old, got my own place, bunch of havoc. What I did was made a conscientious decision, despite my parents at that point, and the healthy boundary I set was this: I'm going to the military. 19 years old, whole life changed.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time. So I'm 19, joined the military, went to the Army, became an air traffic controller. Everything was great. I'm still partying, okay? I just can't escape this thing because this is normalized. You know what I mean? This is in my core thoughts at this point. It's cool to party. You know what I mean? So I just, you know, did my job just, I'm going to say minimally, because I could have done better now looking back. But at the same time, you know, I would go to the tower hungover. You know, I'm in control of lives here at an early age. I'm hungover. I'm getting high on marijuana at the time, just like it's normal in the Army. You know what I mean? So at that point, I met a girl, and we later became married. Okay, that's after I went to Korea, came back, boom. I said, this must be fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was the right girl for me. We had a kid. She was Korean. We have a daughter, beautiful daughter today, who I'm very proud of. You know what I mean? But at the time, we divorced at an early age. I'm 22 years old going through a divorce. So it's like, man, how do I handle this grief?
Yeah.
Still didn't learn anything about it. So spiraling and snowballing up, I'm sitting there like, well, what do I do? Well, I'm going to get high. You know what I mean? I'm going to just get high and mask everything that I've ever felt because I didn't want to feel anymore. You know what I mean? I was going through it, and it was very rough because in my head, I'm going to make this work because I've seen parents who struggled the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I wanted it that much more, and when it didn't happen, it took a toll on me. I got high, got a urinalysis test in the military, boom, end of my career.
Yeah.
They chaptered me out of the military. So I had a decision to make, man. At that point, it's like, wow, what am I going to do? Just like me, what I always know how to do, I came back to Chillicothe, Ohio, partied even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I still maintain a relationship with my daughter. Was it healthier or not? You know, that's controversial. You know, it depends on who's looking. But at the same time, I did what I could at the time. You know what I mean?
100%.
Everything turned out. I met another girl who later became my wife. So I'm at 2 marriages at 26 years old, still thinking it's okay to party. She helped me out a lot. But at the same time, either I had a problem with everybody leaving me, or I pushed everybody out of my life at this point when I started, I guess you could say, when I panicked. You know, when times got hard, it's either they left me, but in my head, I pushed everybody away. You know what I mean? Because it was more comfortable for me. I didn't want to deal with real life. So, you know, I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. But here's the thing. I found a job that I really liked. It was my career, all right, in the car business. I worked at Norris here in Chillicothe, Herrnstein. I was a car guy, okay? So that gave me some hope. Like, man, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm good at sales. So everything was great, man. You know what I mean? Did it take a toll on me? Yes. I drank every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still drank. You know, to this day, the best thing I've ever done was checked into one of the rehab facilities, and I was around 31 years old at the VA Medical Center in Chillicothe. A lot of people who are veterans, I wish they would utilize their benefits a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was allowed to keep my benefits, even though they sent me out of the military. So there are benefits in the area that people don't even look into. You know what I mean? Either that or they don't know about them. So I feel like I'm a catalyst to teach people about some of the benefits that are out there because I've used them.
Right.
And if somebody taught me about it, I feel like I'm only obligated to show them this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what I
of
mean?
course.
So those are out there for people just like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went to I'm sitting there in 2019, VA. I didn't really get it because it was a shorter program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So some of the guys that I see today that I look up to, some of my mentors were in there with me at those same meetings that I was going to in 2019. So, you know, I didn't get it that time. I went back out using this, that, and the other. But fast forward, long story short, I got in some trouble, failed to pay some fines, and the best thing that ever happened to me was I was sent to a treatment facility that was a lot more, I guess you could say, structured.
Yeah.
Down in Waverly, Ohio, Kent's Place. So my thing at that point, it was like, man, I hate this. But really what I hated was hearing things that were wrong with me, character defects that I had never heard before. You know what I mean? So I had to keep an open mind, a really open mind, because I was court ordered to be there, but in reality, did I have to stay there? The door didn't lock. You know,
100%.
I chose to stay because I'm tired of the same patterns of life, not getting anywhere, expecting different results.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pure insanity.
Literal definition of insanity. So, at that point, it started clicking. It's like, wow, you know what? I think I can do this thing. So I hit the ground running. You know what I mean? I started like really paying attention to what my counselors were saying because it worked for them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm a product of my environment. I am. I don't know about anybody else, but if I see good, I'm going to be good. If I see negative, I'm going to do negative. So, you know, at this point, I still didn't have an understanding of God because my brother recently passed away in 2021. Unfortunately, we were very close of an overdose. This is when it got real. Well, actually, prior to that, 2019, my best friend died of an overdose also. So those were two instances where people I talk to every day of my life are no longer on this earth. You know what I mean? So I'm
due to this disease.
So that's when it got real, like, man. But it didn't really click because I've overdosed a few times in the past. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, I had really good people around me that I thought was really good at the time. But they were just basically enabling. But they cared enough to keep me alive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen, every day, Yeah. Because some of these programs out here with the police even, they think, wow, you just got to run. You know what I mean? Yeah. Somebody overdoses, let's run. No, not knowing that they administer Narcan and they can use that and with no trouble. Nobody's even going to ask. They're just happy you kept somebody alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is what I surrounded myself with. A lot of people surround themselves in these small towns with people they think are just like them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, I'm hopeless. Let's be hopeless together. Ooh, right. Let's get through this and trauma bond together.
Yeah.
So I realized today that I was living the wrong way, but would I regret any of that stuff that ever happened to me? I don't like it, but guess what? It was very uncomfortable, but I don't regret it because it made me the person I am today. Yeah. You know what I mean? I realize now, having come to reach for tomorrow with great people around me, man. I'm talking great people. I'm talking brotherhood, family feelings, I can just walk up and talk to my counselor. I could just walk up and talk to my mentor. Yep. You know what I mean? And get advice. Walk up and talk to my peers without any bias. You know what I mean? Because the message sends like this, or it reads to me like this. And it states in the literature that the true value of helping another addict is without parallel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as long as I'm receiving help and I'm giving what I learned away, we're all in this together. There's a connection established. But not only that, you know what I mean? We're meant to have a connection out here. Yeah. Everybody's meant to talk. So having social anxiety at a younger age, I pushed myself uncomfortably and made myself vulnerable to overcome not talking to people because they say this out there in society: closed mouths don't get fed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. I don't want a closed mouth. I like to eat. You know what I mean? I like to eat. I'm sure you guys do too. But first of all, I want to thank you guys for even offering me the opportunity to come and speak with you guys. You know what I mean? Because you guys are really receptive. You guys are great. I see you every day. But there's people out there that I realize I could help. Yeah. And you guys could help, you know what I mean? And I just enjoy the opportunity to be here in front of you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome.
To show that, nowadays I chair some meetings, you know what I mean, in the local area.
Yeah.
I do service work in the local area. I'm working on putting together mental health speaking groups. I'm in school today. Just purchased a car 2 days ago. And I'm doing great, man. My fines are getting paid off.
It's amazing.
And these transitional houses, Reach for Tomorrow, even the treatment facility I was at before collectively helped me get what I'm getting today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in return, the newcomer coming, the guy who's not knowing how to get this, I get it because I'm not very experienced in this category. It's still kind of uncomfortable for me, but at the same time, I'm looking one day at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I think next week, I'm not going to get it. It's today that I have to worry about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Give
Will
it
I
your
slip
all
and
today.
fall? Yeah. I slip and fall, guys, but I don't allow shame and guilt to get to me. You
Strap
know what I
them
mean?
boots back up and stand back
And move
up.
on with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to be the type that runs because what kind of message is that sending when somebody out there is paying attention?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the ultimate price today is death.
Yeah, it is.
That's the ultimate price. So I appreciate you guys for allowing me to come out here and talk.
Yeah, dude. We
But
love it.
experience,
It's
strength, and hope, man.
I appreciate, you coming on here and expressing your story. It definitely means a lot. There was a few things that, like with Reach for Tomorrow, we talk about a lot that the opposite of addiction is connection.
Right.
And I think that this place kind of gets a little deeper, like, because there's connection and then there's bonds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
I think that what we create here is such a bond and, like you said, like a family.
Yeah.
And such a tight unit that, we're all able to express our experience, strength, and hope. Like, there's walking evidence everywhere around here.
Right.
That it works.
Absolutely.
You just got to put in the footwork.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think that you really got this, and I'm really happy that, you had the willingness to get on here and just help another person, man.
Thank you, Zach.
It means a lot.
I appreciate you. You also, Elijah.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. It's awesome. We're glad to have you here. We, like you said, you're wanting to help the newcomer, and that's part of why we do this is for people out there, but also yourself,
Right.
to be able to, get your story out and, give you the opportunity to be like, hey, here, go watch this link.
Yeah.
This is what, I could tell you all right now, but I can send you to this, and then they'll come to you with 1,000 questions.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Like, how'd
never
you
know.
do that?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
And then it gives you the audience just a better perspective on who Angelo is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It definitely does.
it's awesome.
And I want to share my story everywhere, really. But is it relevant? No. But as many places I can, I want to help as many people as I can.
it's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Well, normally we will end off with a prayer. So
Okay.
we'll go ahead and pray.
You want to take us out?
Yeah, I'll take us out. Lord, we just want to thank you for this time that we've had together. We want to thank you for Angelo. We want to thank you for how far you've brought him and how far you're taking him. We can already see the light that you've instilled in him and how it's shining onto other people through you. We just want to appreciate this opportunity. We want to thank you and make sure that you have all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Thanks, guys.